Hi, Nina Zapala. This is a place to talk about spiritual personality typing. I usually speak here on my latest blog post. And this past weekend, I decided to spend some time with my son. We went and saw a really cool movie together, and we just spent the weekend together. It was Mother's Day, so we were kind of celebrating each other. I celebrate him for the gift he is to me, and vice versa. So anyhow, I don't have a new blog post this week, but I do have a blog library that is very extensive. If you want to start learning about spiritual personality typing, I talk about things like how to travel as a couple, best places where you can travel, who is your best travel partner, and I go into lifestyle things. As you know, last week I was talking about what's your fashion style related to your personality type. I've even done stuff on, what Thanksgiving dish are going to show up based on your personality type. Of course, I also talk about more serious things, like we talk about fear and change and transformation. And I go into the spiritual aspects of personality typing. And that's kind of what I want to segue into this week's videos. I want to go into kind of get back to sharing some basic premises of spiritual personality typing, because it is different from career typology. So let's just start there. So, I often get asked, Nina, what are you talking about spiritual personality typing? And I said, well, this was given to me actually. I'm just going to take you back just a decade or two so you know where this all started. But this started for me when I was going through a very hard time in my life. And I always say there's nothing random in the universe. And of course, serendipitously, this beautiful spiritual psychologist showed up in my life, Dr. June Lee Nix. And I was blessed enough to be her PR person. And she was starting a masterclass. Now, this is back in the early 2000s when masterclasses weren't even a thing. So this is how ahead of her time she was. And she was so tapped into who she was and her divine intelligence that she was like a magnet. I just couldn't, I was just like, oh my gosh, this, But see what happens, and we're going to talk about this too, but she was very tapped into her divine intelligence, and she just listened to her intuition. So she invited me to be her PR person to get her coverage, which was tough. And I was in Virginia Beach where the ARE was and so forth. And I had done work for the ARE, the Edgar Cayce Foundation for Enlightenment. So there was a little bit of community around that. So that did help me get her some pretty good press. But she said, let's continue this and let's, go on this journey with me. And I said, absolutely. And so part of the journey, we did everything. We did Kundalini, we did breath work, we did animal totems, we did the Enneagram, we did a lot of yoga, meditation, all of those beautiful things that you do to get yourself in line, get your soul self in line with your physical self. And one of the modules was personality typing. And for some reason, it was so intriguing to me. And I turned around to her and I said, June, why isn't there more of a spiritual component to this? We talk about, career typology, which I know is important because I know, so many people spend so many hours in the day focused on their career. So I know that's important, but what about the spiritual aspects of that? What about even the spiritual aspects of career typology in the workplace? And she turned to me and she just said, Nina, if that idea came to you, then you need to figure it out. So go do that. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now, this has been 10 years later. Life happened. We can't go into all that stuff. But that's where the premise of all this came from. So that's an understanding for you that I've had this interest for 10 years, and it's been growing, and I've been learning. I've gotten certified. I've been coaching people. I've been working with some really close friends that have allowed me to go intimately into their life so I could look at this to see and expand it even deeper and more spiritual. And what I want to go here with you today is how important you knowing your personality type is to getting into alignment with that soul self. You know, when everyone's talking about, oh, we're going from 3D to 5D, I'm sure you've heard that. There's a lot of chatter. Just, Google that and you'll get probably a million results. And I think it's great. I love that we're all talking about, evolving ourselves and talking about more enlightened, more spirituality, more kindness on the planet, more love on the planet, more equality on the planet. I love all that. But what I'm finding is if you don't understand your personality type, and if your personality type is still baked in fear, it doesn't align with your soul self. And I say this a lot. That divine spark of God, your soul self, cannot come through you, through your personality type, into your physical reality, if your soul self, if your personality type is based in fear. It's just, I feel that is critical for you to understand that. So let me say it again because I was kind of hacking. I'm going to have a little sip of my coffee. Woohoo! So let me say this again. So if your personality type is baked in fear, so you have a lot of fear around you, whatever that is, fear of failure, unworthiness, not feeling loved, you think you're always right. There's an arrogance about you. There's a pride about you. It's good to be prideful, but it's not good to be boastfully prideful that turns into arrogance. Do you see what I'm saying? Where the ego takes over. And so fear is the opposite of love. So if you're embodying and holding a lot of fear, I still hold fear. I don't care who you are on the planet, you hold fear. Most people hold fear of some sorts. Now, it could be this big, much fear, or it could be fear on this kind of level, right? I don't care if you're the president. I don't care if you're a Hollywood celebrity. I don't care if you're a homeless person. I don't care if you're a blue-collar worker. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire. I don't care. None of that. That is all irrelevant. All irrelevant. Especially when you start getting into this divine intelligence, there is no judgment there. So why are we judging ourselves? There's another point of fear. So when you have all this fear in you, right? A lot of fear. Your soul self can't attach to you because your fear is going this way, and your soul self wants to come at you, and the fear keeps on going this way. It doesn't align. So your soul self, divine intelligence that speaks through you, it speaks the important messages you need to learn for you, for why you're here, your sacred purpose. It can't deliver those messages to you through your personality into your physical reality. It just can't do that. So that's why I'm like, we have to know our personality type so intimately. And it's going to be a lifelong process, which is fine. But once we start making our personality type, the healthy aspects of our personality type, more of a habit, then we start losing some of the fear. So let's take away the fear habits and replace them with healthy personality type habits. And the funny thing is, you don't need to learn anything. You just have to get into your personality type, which I'm talking about new things, like learning a new technology. It's a whole new system, right? No, this system is already within you. It's a divine tool that you've been gifted with. to create your sacred purpose here on the planet. That's why there's 16 personality types. We each have a distinct personality type, layered with life experiences that makes me as an ENTP totally different than another ENTP, and totally different than another ENTP. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about all this stereotyping. I mean, I'm on Instagram, and there's an introvert feed, which I think is, it's fun, right? Because I'm my type, the way I test out is I'm like 51% extrovert, 49% introvert. Now, does this surprise you with the work I'm doing? How divine works through me? So I have a good understanding of both types. So I'm not a severe extrovert or a severe introvert. I'm right that middle road. So I get both sides. See how that works? There's nothing random with that. I have to have that so I can understand you all and help you at a deeper level. But when everyone does these memes, which I think is a form of bullying, honestly, I don't like it, like, oh, I can't be around an extrovert because, they shut me down. And there is some truth to that. There is definitely some truth to that, And an extrovert might be saying, I can't be around an introvert because all they want to do is like crawl in their hole. They don't want to talk. They don't want to do anything. They just sit there like blobs. And extroverts come out screaming and loud and lively. And so there's a dynamic there, right? And so we live in a dualistic world. And I'm not judging one. There's no judgment here. They're both needed on this planet. But what you don't really know is this whole collective thing that you're looking at, you're seeking, looking at it as externally, it's all within you. Because guess what? What really messes with you as an extrovert, let me rephrase this. What an introvert really is bothered by an extrovert, they need to learn that. And what an extrovert is really bothered by an introvert, they need to learn that. That's your dualistic whole coming together to form organic you. So we all have aspects of that. We all have extroverted and introverted aspects of ourselves. Right? And that gets into like some of the cognitive functions, which I'm going to be starting a membership. So I'm going to start going into this a lot deeper into my membership portal. Because it's going to be private, and I just want to build this really cool community of people that really, really want to get into this more and start exploring themselves and having the space to confidently talk about things that really, really need attention. So when we sit there and judge somebody for being an extrovert, or we judge somebody for being an introvert, or we judge somebody saying, God, you're so sensitive. Oh, you're so hardcore. Like, you don't have any feelings. We're judging. And when we judge, we separate. And we have to understand that everybody's different. That somebody that's super sensitive, that's part of their soul purpose. And somebody that's extremely logical, that's part of their soul purpose. But what I teach about spiritual personality typing is that there has to be a spiritual component to that. Because all of these functions must sift through your soul self and allow the messages of divine intelligence to come through your soul self. So they'll now sift through and sift out through your personality type in a divinely inspired way, instead of an external way that's based on fear. Does that make any sense? I'm hoping I'm making it, because I talk to, when I coach people, they're like, God, Nina, you're so over my head. I don't mean to be over your head. I've been into this now, for, like I said, for 10 years. So what I'm saying to me is, it's like, God, this is so, it's so logical to me. It's so practical. I'm sure some of the spiritual stuff is a little bit esoteric, but We're all starting to realize that taking time for ourselves, taking time in stillness, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's breath work, whether it's mindfulness work, is all an important aspect to slow ourselves down. That's why I love travel. Because travel is a way to transport yourself. And it doesn't have to be to far-flung places. Like we're always, we've been pummeled to believe, oh, you've got to go here. You don't. Look at my backyard. I can travel there and get to a pretty cool destination. And that's another aspect I want to bring up. I want to bring up this 3D to 5D thing. Guys, it's going to be part of our transformation. But it's going to happen within. And we're all going to have to work like hell to clean up the mess we made on Earth. Nobody's going to come in with a little wand and go, oh, I've cleaned up all your crap. That's not how it works. When you're transforming, does somebody come in with a wand and goes, oh, I cleaned all your crap up, you're good to go? No, you have to work through it. So going through this 5D thing, as everyone's talking about, it's coming from within first. And then we're all going to have to get out as a collective team of divine soldiers and work with each other to create the world we want. So let me explain that. Then it goes back to knowing your personality type. Because if you know your personality type, you can more easily create the world that you want, that satisfies your soul, your sacred purpose. You're not looking on the outside and go, oh, what she's doing is cool. Well, maybe that's true. But that might be her soul purpose. How do you know that's yours? Honestly, it can't be, because you're looking externally and thinking, oh, that's cool, because you don't know how cool you are yet. I'm telling you, each personality type, every single one has something so dynamic about them. And it's so beautiful. I mean, you can just see the grace and divine intelligence as we were created. It's really beautiful. So the 5D, let me explain this for the 3D and 5D. So this morning I took a walk. Me and my little Oliver walk every morning. And I walk out of my neighborhood, through another neighborhood, which I'm blessed, through another neighborhood. And I don't take a cell phone. I don't try not to do any of that, because I kind of really just want to be in nature. I mean, listen to the birds right now. They're so beautiful. And that stirs me. That just sends something to my soul. So I don't have a cell phone. I don't have any of that. Unless I know I want a picture of something. And so as I was walking along, I got this message. And it was so interesting because my mind was open. I wasn't separating myself with some image of something, Once you can leave your mind really open, all the divine intelligence flows through you, instead of you having this concrete image of something in your mind. So when you get a concrete image in your mind, then you've gone back into ego. Because you're like, oh, I've got to do this. Well, just stay open to what message flows through. So I was staying open, and I don't do this all the time. I'm not, believe me, I'm far from perfect. And what was so cool was I got, look, you've gone maybe a mile and a half, and look how much everything's transformed, even before your eyes. But it was in a mindset. My mind had totally shifted. So from 3D to 5D is going to be in your mind. It's going to be the shift that you bring about in your mind. What world do you want to create for yourself? It starts by knowing what's in your heart. You can sort everything through your mind, through your personality type, right? So then in divine and healthily through your mind, in a positive way without fear. And so divine intelligence can work through that, and then you take inspired actions. It's not, there's not going to be, you're not going to just show up and go, oh my God, I take inspired action every day. There's no way. There's just no way. It doesn't work like that. But do you see what I'm saying? If your personality type, if a healthy personality type, all your traits, you start getting your traits healthy. And then when something triggers you, you're like, there's that trait again. Okay. And then you can step into it and work through it more easily because you've identified the traps within your personality type. So you can move through them more quickly and get back on your path. So yes, you take a little diversion, but then you get back on your path. It's a loop instead of a journey across a country, if that makes any sense. So you're just looping instead of these big, gigantic things, which I did. I've gone through a 7-year life tsunami, and I don't think that's ever going to end. I think that's where my realization kicked in. That this is the work I'm supposed to be doing, which was amazing. And then if I'm doing this work, I need to be going through it, because I'm never going to teach you something I haven't gone through. I can't teach what I don't know. I can't teach what I haven't experienced. And I'm not going to pretend to be that person. I've already done that. In the corporate world, and it was extremely dissatisfying. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what brings me joy. Like I can sit down and work for hours and I can't believe the day's gone by. I'm just like happily getting into this and working, and it's just, there's no drudge there. I don't go, oh God, I have to do this today. I'm like, oh no, I get to go for my walk. I get to get centered in my mind. I wonder what's going to come to me today. I wonder how God's going to work through me today. I don't know what you can call God, whatever you want. I call God God. Divine intelligence, actually, I call God, or the great I, all there is, the I am, Allah, whatever you want, phrase you want to call it. But it's interesting if you start having that within you. So, what you want to do is start looking at these personality types and your traits within your type, and not stereotyping them. Well, I'm an introvert, therefore I am. No, let's erase that thinking. That's old paradigm thinking. We're in the Aquarian age. It started in 2012, and it is upon us now. It is really upon us now. We've had the grace of these years to awaken. I was lucky because I went through my transformation right at 2012. It all hit. 2011, it started. And it all hit. So we're all going to be going through transformations, and I will continue to go through transformations and doing shadow work and learning about myself, And the thing is, it was interesting yesterday. I told you at the beginning, I was with my son, and I'm very blessed. And he's an INTP, so of course, we're sister types, which makes total sense. But it's wonderful because since he is of this same really close type, right? Extremely different, let me just say that. But when I recognize myself, like even in my inner workings with him, I'll say, oh, Mom, why do I need that validation all the time? He goes, I don't know, Mom, you say it every time. And he's just literal as hell. Very laid back, though. Like, nothing matters, which is really cool. Because, nothing matters. And he doesn't get all caught up in shit. Which is all, I'm like, man, I got to start doing that, Jay. He's like, yeah, no, Mom. You make everything, you get crazy about things. Like, I know. I got to stop doing that. And it's nice. We had some really heavy talks yesterday. He cried, I cried. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day yesterday. So You know, those are blessed moments of great learning. But I know my personality type. So now when he says something to me, I don't get all like, you know, you're not, you're my son. No, we don't have that relationship at all. So it's this whole new dynamic, right? So it's with my son, it's with everybody I interact with. Because my personality type, a healthy, positive personality type that I intimately know now, has become the habit, and I'm starting to lose the fear habits. And that's where we all want to be. So divine intelligence can speak through us, can talk to us, can bring us those divine messages. We have to stop stereotyping each other. We have to stop doing that. Because when we're stereotyping, we're not looking at ourselves. Because again, we're pointing outwards. We're looking at something else instead of looking at ourselves. Any type of stuff like that, you know. When somebody's criticizing you and saying, oh, like you're on some social media, which is, I'm really trying to figure out how not to use social media. But when they're, you know, criticizing you or chastising you or belittling you, or, you know, it's okay to question. I love curious questioning. But when somebody starts judging you, it's because they haven't looked at themselves. So please don't take that personally. In fact, I would take it as a compliment because you're standing up for who you are. They're on the path to finding who they are. Let's start flipping the switch. Let's go from career typology to spiritual typology. It's a new paradigm. Let's start flipping the switch. We're in a very transformative time. And we all need to be creating the world we want to create now. I don't think anybody wants what we had. Oh, very few people. Very few people. I think the vast majority is looking for a place that's kinder, that's more gentler, that's more equal, that we're all sharing, that we're taking care of the planet, that we're loving our animals and working together with our animals and the plants and the oceans as a team. Not as a dictator that takes 24/7. It's not sustainable. We can see it's not sustainable. So, you know, it all starts with knowing your personality type. And I'm going to get into this in my membership side because we're not going to talk about it from this linear, like it's called your functional stack. I don't know how familiar you are with personality typing. But your functional stack is the order in which you use your traits. That's all that is. Right? And I don't believe we use them in a linear line. I don't believe that. I believe we use them in a circular fashion. I do. And if you really know your personality type, it's beautiful because then you can dig into all of the traits. You're just not using two. Divine intelligence is not random. If you were supposed to have just two, you would have just two. You don't. You have four. Actually, you have like 8. Six. Sorry, I'm not. Look at math. Oh yeah, I'm really good at math. Duh. Because you have an extrovert or introverted overall quality. And then you have cognitive functions. There's 4 in that. Yeah, and then you have a judging, so it's 6. Do the math, Neen. I suck at math, so go ahead, laugh. It's good. I'm laughing too. I laugh at myself all the time. But anyway, it's so interesting once you start really getting into your traits. And once they become a habit, you don't have to sit there and, you know, oh, am I doing this? No, it's like driving a car. Like once you learn to drive a car, it becomes more natural, and you just get in the car and go instead of, oh my God, I'm stopping at the stop sign. I gotta stop. I gotta put on the, put on the brakes. Gotta put my turn signal on. There's all these things that you're thinking of. But once you start knowing your traits is more habitual, it's like you're on the ride. They're on the ride with you, and you can see when they're, like just like driving. You can see like, oh, somebody's coming. This could be scary. So you already know you're already reacting to that negative influence. And then it's more seamless. You either avert it totally or you lessen it. But that's what your personality traits can do too for you if you're just really intimately in touch with them. So that's what I want to talk about this week. Enjoy and go explore the blog. There's so much information on there. If this is something that interests you, I hope it does. It can change your life. It can change your life. It can dramatically change your life. It's dramatically changed mine. So I know that for a fact. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you back here next week. All for now. Make it a great one. Nina.